Hi everyone and welcome back to Famous Pages. Today we're talking about the poem Love's Alchemy by John Donne. As usual, let's start with a summary and then move on to the line-by-line analysis. Before I begin summarizing the poem, I think it's really important to talk about what alchemy is, just very quickly, like Alchemy 101. So alchemy was essentially this discipline in science. People believed that it would be possible to distill substances to find gold, or to distill substances to find something that's so pure, that's like the elixir of life, that can make you live forever, that can make you healthy. Alchemy was all about this idea of getting things in their pure form, what today we call distilling. And really quite a lot of people believed in it, that it was akin to magic, that someday people would find the solution to eternal life. And around the 17th century, so around the time Donne started writing, they basically realized that alchemy was not really a science and that you couldn't really just get gold out of nowhere. And this poem centers quite a lot about the conceits of alchemy and how it's like a failure of love, because this persona is once again John Donne the cynic. There are two stanzas of 12 lines each, so it's not quite a sonnet, because once again our speaker doesn't believe in love, so it's not quite a sonnet. And the couplets also don't quite rhyme. So we have something that's like a rotten chord in the middle, because it's A, A, B, B, C, D, E, E, D, D, F, F. So it's lines that don't match. So it's to show that there's no such thing as harmony, there's no such thing as pairs. I don't believe in love, and neither should you. It's that kind of persona again. And we also don't have the same amount of syllables in every line, and the form is far less controlled than Donne's usual poetry. So we really have this someone who has given in to their emotions, given into their fury here. Essentially, the central message is that love is as impossible to find as alchemy, hence my long-winded explanation about alchemy at the beginning. And essentially the message is that you can only use women for physical pleasures, and there's no such thing as a deeper spiritual love. So conceptually, this poem is very different from poems like The Canonization and other poems, which really romanticize women and put them on a pedestal and say, she's everything, I am nothing. And essentially this is more in line with women's like constancy and other poems treating this theme of women being unfaithful, fickle, and so on. Some that have deeper digged love's mind than I say, where his centric happiness does lie, I have loved and got and told. But should I love, yet tell till I were old, I should not find that hidden mystery. Oh, 'tis imposture at all. And as no chemic yet the elixir got, but glorifies his pregnant pot, if by the way to him befall some odoriferous thing or medicinal. So lovers dream a rich and long delight, but get a winter seeming summer night. So the first few lines are quite interesting to note in terms of phonology, deeper digged, lots of end-stopped guttural sounds, D, G sounds. It's almost like the speaker is spitting, he's throwing his contempt at you. It's very guttural, it's like a cacophony of noise, there's a lot of clashing sounds here, some that have deeper digged. So some people that have attempted to look into love deeper than I have, deeper than what I'm about to tell you, some that have treated it as more serious, say. So he instructs them. He tells them, oh, I challenge you to tell me that there's something serious. He's saying that, oh, get up, those people, you should speak. And he's saying that where his centric happiness does lie. So it's the center of the woman, and it's also the center of the metal. I have loved and got. It's again the thing, like, I have been with many women and I will continue to be with many women. I have gotten this happiness. Happiness, of course, is in the sexual meaning here. And then we have this asyndetic list of things that he realizes. So I should love, get, tell, till I were old. So even if I kept loving, and even if I kept getting new women to love, and even if I kept talking of love, I wouldn't find that hidden mystery of women. So until my very death, I shall not understand women. I shall not understand how they function and how they love. Even if I told you about all of my amorous experiences with women, I still shouldn't find it. It is imposture. So the centric happiness as well, let's go back to that idea. It may be referring to Ptolemaic astronomy. So it's this idea that spheres, like planets, were hollow globes, and they would all move around the sun, and they would carry the heavenly bodies. So if you imagine the universe as a series of concentric circles, and the planets are hollow, so it's almost like they're beads on a string. And of course, at the center of the planet was Earth. Not yet the sun, but Earth. And because these celestial bodies was moving, those who were divinely blessed would hear the music. And again, that idea of these like poets, cultural, artistic people who could somehow bring that music, turn it into words or actual music or art, and kind of help the people to really understand what it was like. And it's this idea that we will come back to in the second stanza. But back to this exclamation of "'tis imposture all." So it's all a deception. Love is a scam, a lie. The next 6 lines with their conceit about alchemy explain it. As no chemic yet the elixir got, as all chemists have failed to turn base metal into gold and glorify their filled pot by pretending they have some smelly odoriferous thing. He's saying that they're only pretending that they got gold. Alchemy was just a scam, and people who claim to be successful were simply lying, and their pot, as in like their cauldron where they were making this, was simply filled with some pungent medicinal affair, nothing more than gold, a fake promise, just like love. And likewise, lovers dream a rich and long delight, so lovers think they will be happy and satisfied in the physical sense for a long time, but instead get a winter seeming summer's night. So a summer's night is short and winter seeming, so a neologism to describe how it's cold and barren. So they're looking for this happy, sunny, perfect, flawless, well, not in Donne's time, but to use a metaphor from our times, cereal box relationship, these happy smiling families, and instead what they get is simply what seemed like summer but was instead winter. It's cold, it's barren, it's despondent, it's a disaster because love is a scam, as our cynical poet reminds us. So the lovers think it will be wonderful, long, hot, and instead it's cold and unpleasant, and frankly much like the smelly pungent thing that you were hoping was gold, but was some alchemist's deception of you. So something that doesn't meet expectations, something that makes them disappointed. And we have a number of lines starting with conjunctions like but, if, so we have a sense of anger, a sense of spontaneity, someone warning us that this is how it will be. I have lived this deception many times, and I'm telling you, you will as well. Our ease, our thrift, our honor, and our day, shall we for this vain bubble's shadow pay? Ends love in this, that my man can be as happy as I can, if he can endure the short scorn of a bridegroom's play. That loving wretch that swears 'tis not the body's merry, but the mind's, which he in her angelic finds, would swear as justly that he hears in that day's rude horse minstrelsy the spheres. Hope not for mind in women at their best, sweetness and wit they are but mummy possessed. Very nice. So our ease, our thrift, our honor, our day, shall we for this vain bubble's shadow pay? Should we really be using our savings, our thrift, our honor, our youth, our vitality, our very life force on love, on finding love, on keeping love? Or should we be spending so much time to play with this vain bubble, something that's transparent? It's simply this glittering promise, which in reality can simply pop and explode at just a touch. It's like the shadow that such a bubble makes. It's fleeting, and you should not be focusing your energy on it. My love ends in this that even my man, my servant, can be as happy as me if he can bear the short dislike of a bridegroom's play. So in other words, oh, just this temporary discomfort that is marriage and a ceremony and hearing terrible music played, and then you're married, and then you're happy, and then it's all sunny after. except it's not. And he's also saying that it's almost like love is an equalizer, that even my servant can experience this process of first having a wedding and then having love. And he's saying that this actually brings love down, that instead of being some spiritual thing, it's for common mongers. Everyone can do it, anyone can do it, so why would you want to chase something that everyone can easily get? And he's mocking this idea of a ceremony of marriage because he's saying it's not all about unity. You're not gonna end up together living in harmony, so what is the point of the ceremony except for more pomp, more of this vain bubble? And as that loving wretch, so that poor damned, well, essentially he's saying idiot, that thinks that it's not the bodies marry but the minds, that someone who says love is spiritual, he's saying you're an idiot and you're damned because you're about to find out the truth. He's saying that of course this idiot sees his woman as an angel, of course he sees it spiritual rather than physical, and he's the just the kind of person to think that it's so romantic to hear the playing of wedding bells and of musicians on a wedding day. So he's saying that it's horse minstrelsy, but to this man who is a poor idiot in love, he will think that it's almost like the spheres. So he will think that he's so spiritually touched by love that it's almost like he can hear the very heavenly music that comes from the sphere spinning round, the planet spinning round. It's almost like heaven, and he's comparing the terrible playing of human musicians to heaven. That's how dumb he is if he thinks that love is all about like spiritual ideas and this meeting of the minds rather than something physical. He's saying that of course they won't recognize true music as true music. He's viewing everything through rose lens glasses, in other words. We then end with an incredibly cynical and frankly slightly terrible statement that you should not wish for women to be your equal and intelligent and interested counterpart. You should at least hope that they can be sweet and witty, but that's if you're lucky. You shouldn't look for someone who's your equal. No, rather it's purely physical. They are mommy possessed. Obviously you can treat mommy as like mommy as in mother, you know, the child of your children, your progenitors, but here mommy is unfortunately like the dead Egyptian embalmed person. So he's saying that there's nothing in them, like they're dead. They're simply bodies that are somehow walking. They're simply mummies come alive. There's nothing to be gained from this relationship other than physical pleasures. They're like that alchemy core. You're only using them for that specific purpose, is essentially the message. And of course it's very important to remember that this is not actually Donne. It's likely his persona, because I'm sure that if you look at Donne's other work, his romantic appeals to women, it's really hard to coincide those people with the message of this poem here. So it's interesting to consider in what situations Donne would have adopted a persona such as this, a cynical and, well, slightly, okay, very misogynistic persona of this man who has been so scorned for love. He wishes to tell everyone and everything around him about this. Alright, so I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for making it until the end. Please do leave me a comment. I love hearing about your thoughts, and I will see you next week.